Hello class, today we're going to learn how to play the game Time Traveler. The objective of this game is to travel backwards through time, collecting artifacts and building museums for each artifact. Each game board comes with a set of rules that you can refer to if you ever get lost. But because we have so little time in each class, we're going to jump right into how you start the game. First of all, each player is going to pick a game piece, and they're going to receive 6 museums. Each player is also going to receive 6 tokens to put on their game piece. Now the bank stays in the middle of the board. All of the remaining tokens will go on top of the bank so that every player can access it to either pay themselves or pay the bank in the instance that they must. For example, if you land on choose a time travel card, there may be an instance where you might owe money to the bank. Or in some cases, you might get lucky and might get a windfall, and then you may take tokens from the bank depending on the card that you draw. There are also unlucky spots on the board, such as this museum tax spot, import tax, or even an archaeology dig fee. If you land on those, you'll almost always have to pay a token, unless of course you don't own any artifacts. The good news is that every time you go around the board and pass go, you will get to collect 1 token from the bank, with one exception. The exception to that rule is if you go to jail. So for example, if you're working your way around the board and you go to jail, you do not get to pass go. So your game piece will simply, you'll only have gone 5,000 years. So we'll lift up the game piece and move you all the way over to the jail. And as you can see, the jail is over here. You only sit in the jail for the 1 turn, so you're only missing out on 1 turn, and then you can resume going in the direction of the board. As I mentioned before, the downside of going to jail is that you've only traveled 5,000 years. Now, to go around the entire board is actually 100,000 years. So that is a lot of points that you're missing out on, besides just simply losing a turn and losing a token that you take from the bank. Remember, the objective of the game is to collect artifacts and travel as many years as you can. So what does it look like to collect artifacts? Let's take a look. So, if somebody takes a turn, the youngest person starts the game, rolls the dice, and if they go around the board, let's see, they're going the number of the dice. Oh, shucks, they didn't get an artifact at all. They're just visiting the jail. Now, if you do land on an artifact, you can get the card for that artifact. That will prove that you're the one in charge of that. The good news is that if anybody lands on your artifact with your museum on it, then they have to pay you a token. Let's see what it looks like to put a museum on an artifact. That was pretty simple. Of course, that works the other way too. So if you move your piece and you discover that the artifact you land on has somebody else's museum, you will have to take 1 of your tokens and put it on theirs. Now, in order to win the game, as I mentioned, you have to have the most years traveled and the most tokens. This is your time traveler scorecard. Round 1 simply means 1 trip around the board. So in this column, you simply write down all the artifacts that you acquired. So if, for instance, I may have just acquired the Taj Mahal, so I'll write that with my dry erase pen. I have also mentioned that one trip around the board is 100,000 years. So in most cases, I'm going to write down 100,000 years. The only exception to that is if I get sent to jail, I will only have traveled 5,000 years. After taking 4 trips around the board, your scorecard might look like this. In this column, you've written all your artifacts down, and in this column, I've tracked all my years. So as you can see, I went 100,000, 100,000, 100,000, and in this one, I only got 5,000 because I obviously went to jail. When it's time to score your card, all you need to do is add up the years that you've traveled. So as you can see, 100, 100, 100 is 305,000 miles. And then you'll notice a red box at the bottom on your score sheet. So if I plug in 305 miles, that just leaves 30 in the red box. So whatever's in the red box is the number of points we have. So in here I'll put 30 for points, and let's say I only have 10 tokens on my game piece. That means my total score is 40. That's how you determine the winner. It doesn't matter how many rounds you play. It's just the amount of time that we have in class. Or, if you can agree to pay 2 rounds or play 6 rounds, that's fine too. I hope you enjoy playing Time Traveler today and have fun learning some of the greatest artifacts throughout the world from all the different time periods. Trying to wrap your head around 100,000 years of history is really, really difficult, but I hope this will help you to get to know how people divide up time, and you can consider all the amazing innovation and technology that has come to us throughout the millennia. Have fun!